dudes and chicks, and neither if those rules don't apply to you, welcome to us. Hey dudes and chicks, and neither if those rules don't apply to you, welcome to Make for Less Time. My name is Katie. Today, I am going to be doing makeup and story time, and I'm going to be using the Sleepy Hollow palette. Nikki, I'm doing that look that I said I wanted to do using these two colors. I've actually been aching to do this look for quite a while. So if you're interested in seeing how I got this look, or interested in hearing about what I talk about, my little story, then just hang out. Also, yes, I did cut off all my hair. I actually just used the clippers and just cut it all off. I couldn't handle it anymore, and I feel so much better. And also, I wanted to give you guys an update that I'm on like day 21 of not vaping anymore. So that's really sticking, and I feel like I'm living my best life. So if you guys are interested in hearing what I have to talk about, then hang out. I'm already primed in my P. Louise primer in numero 2, and I'm just going to basically go right into story time. I'm going to go into this brownish green color across the bridge. This is what I've been wanting to do since the very beginning. And I'm going to use my Voldemort VM506, and I'm just going to start in the outer V. Oh yeah, that is a badass color. It looks really like a warm brown in the pan, but it's actually like a really nice, like poopy brown. So I'm going to tell you guys a story of 3 girls. When I started my channel, I was a social worker. I've said that probably ad nauseum, those of you guys who have been here for a while. And I had worked really fucking hard to get through college. So I started college a long time ago and then had a hiccup in the middle. And when I came back from that hiccup, I was pretty certain that I wasn't going to make it a second time. And so I really just avoided college because I had just gotten my daughter back and I was working, and I felt like the pressure of school was going to send me right over the edge. And so I took about 3.5 years to get back to college. And so essentially, like in that timeline with the hiccup, it took me about 8.5 years to graduate, maybe 8, something in there, to get my bachelor's degree. All of that time, I was taking a break because I was scared that I wasn't going to make it if I went back to school. All of that time, I was just basically feeling like I was just trying to learn how to stay on my own 2 feet and overcome some of the obstacles that I failed to overcome when I was in school the first time. Now, when I was in school the first half, I was a straight A student, Dean's List every semester, like couldn't handle getting a bad grade. Well, I don't even know if I could have handled it because I didn't get any. So the whole time I was out, it was like this unfinished business that I had. It was like a skeleton in my closet, something that was left undone. And so I had to finish college. Like that was like a thing. I needed to do that for myself to like get the sense of accomplishment that it takes to, you know, in order to gain a sense of accomplishment, you have to accomplish something. And I hadn't really ever accomplished, I mean, I guess that's not true. I graduated from high school when a lot of my friends didn't, and I almost didn't, and I had to go through all this special procedure to graduate from high school. And then I got my driver's license when basically very few of my friends had their driver's license. So there was things that I had accomplished in my life that seemed special to me. You know, if that's not the case for you, but like I was one of like few that graduated. I was one of few that had a driver's license. And so those things did give me a sense of accomplishment, but that feeling like I had failed in college really hung over my head. So it was really important that I graduated. Well, when I went back to college, it was a struggle. Like I had no manageability. I was in a really shitty relationship that like had me fighting. Like I remember this one time I got into a fight with my boyfriend right before a math test, and I was just going to skip the test. And my friend said, I was like, dude, I'm going to fail the test. And my friend said, dude, a 46 is better than a 0. And so I went to school and I got I think a 46. Like that was like, I don't know essentially what the conversation was, but the 46 was better than the 0. So I'm just going to kind of blend this out to get this harsh line out a little tiny bit, because I'm going in with a way lighter color next, because this is the look that has been on my mind. So I had unfinished fucking business, right? And I had to go back to get that out from over my head. It was like the only thing I had, it was my dream, right? It was my dream. And quite frankly, it was a goal that I set when I was basically so lost, like so lost. I had no idea who I was when I decided that I wanted to go to college to be a social worker. And so when I graduated from college, I landed this whale of a job. Like a bunch of people applied for it in the state. I got it. And I was really good at certain aspects of the job, the teaching, the training. I essentially like trained trainers how to get their new recovery programs started. I train people in peer support. Peer support deals with people in recovery from addiction and people in recovery with mental health challenges. I'm going to go in with my JH33 and I'm going to go into Ichabod Sphere, this yellowy orange color, and I'm going to use that to blend it out. So it's going to start out a little rough, I think. Ooh, that's so cool. Ooh, I knew this was gonna look so good. And I'm just going 50% on and 50% off. So basically I barely, in the last the last year and a half of my college education, I really struggled. I was in this relationship that was so chaotic and traumatizing, and I should have never done it. You know what I mean? It was a relationship that I should have never been in. I was way too early in recovery. I made the decision to be a social worker when I didn't even really know who I was. And I was training people, and I'm really good at training people. I'm really good at providing education. I'm really good at creating programs. That's like what I'm good at. And I'm really good at building relationships with people, as you all well know. I was like really good at that aspect of things, but I wasn't good at answering emails and showing up and like being online working 40 hours a week and like doing graphs and spreadsheets. I don't think in squares, I think in circles. And so that's like not a thing for me. So anyway, I had this job for about a year and it was really taxing for me. I could barely stand it, and I loved the travel and I loved meeting all the people and working with them and seeing the things click in their mind, like when they made connections and they're like, oh my God, and like teaching about how to create boundaries and how to take care of yourself and like all those things. Like I was really good at all those things. And I was actually starting to move in the direction of like working with the ACLU and like kind of with seamless programs for people coming out of the criminal justice system. That's like kind of the direction, like in social justice and policy and whatnot. But the job I had at the time was really holding me back. The boss I had, blah, blah, blah. So me and my two besties, we go on this trip for a recovery convention, and they're like talking about their dreams, about how they want to do this and how they really want to, do that or whatever. And we're on our way back. Like it was kind of a running topic for those two, like the entire time. But I was like, in my mind, I was like, well, I've made all my dreams come true. I worked 8.5 years for this college education and all my dreams are true and my life sucks. And I was stressed out all the time, crying all the time, living in dread, like literal dread every single day. So they're talking about how they're going to start meeting, once a month or whatever to start talking about their dreams so that they can become realized. And I'm going through this massive depression. I just got done creating this training where I stayed up all night. Like, this is what I do. When I start writing, I can't stop, because if I stop, I'll lose my flow and I won't be able to finish. And so I had just got done pulling a 3-dayer. And this was after we were back, and they had decided they were going to meet once a month to talk about their dreams. So my friend comes over, I'm crying because I actually am like practically on the verge of being suicidal from staying up for 3 days writing this training. And she's like, hey, I'm going to go meet such and such and we're going to talk about our dreams. Do you want to come? And I was like, not really. I guess I'll just bring my step work and I'll do my step work. So when I get there, my other besties, I'm just living in shit. My dreams are shit. I made a huge mistake and now I'm stuck in it. I'm trapped. We were sitting there and my bestie goes, no, you're not doing step work. You can either talk about your fucking dreams or you can leave. And I was like, all right. So basically, like, they were talking about their things that they really wanted to do. And I was like, I want to start a makeup YouTube channel. That's my dream. And so basically, like, I was losing at Dream Builders and I was like last. And I said, I want to start a makeup YouTube channel. And the minute I said that, I had made a decision. And so I said that, but then what happened was, and you guys who have been here know that this story is that I went that weekend and I went to my hometown and I called my friend from a bar and I was like, hey, I'm at Jester's. You should come down here. And he goes, I'm broke. I can't. And I was like, dude, I got money. I got a good job. I'll buy you a drink. And so he shows up and I'm smoking cigarettes, which is always my go-to when I'm struggling. I start smoking or vaping now. I probably won't ever smoke again. And he says, he shows up, we go out to have a cigarette. He goes, what are you doing this week? And I go, well, I basically skipped out on my job all week. I'm probably going to be playing catch up all week. And he goes, dude, I'm no sponsor. He's like pretty hardcore still, like parties and stuff. He goes, I'm no sponsor, but you're smoking cigarettes, you're skipping out on work, and you called me from J Bar. It seems like you're in a nosedive. And like right in that moment, I realized that like I wasn't a prisoner of that job. And so I went home, and that Monday I put in my resignation and I used my last paycheck to buy all of the equipment I needed to start a YouTube channel. Now, the three girls, me and my two besties, we actually started this group of where women all get together. Well, we didn't. I just show up, you know. We started this group where all of our homegirls who had these like big entrepreneurial ideas or like these big dreams that were pretty much impossible for all of us. We started meeting so that we could all talk about our dreams and build them. And little by little, all those other girls stopped showing up except me and my two besties. We always showed up. Now, to this day, we're the only three that did that. Now, what I want to say is I quit my job instantly. And my one bestie was like, dude, are you winning Dream Builders? What the fuck? How did you come with no dreams and now you're killing it and we're doing nothing? So one of them had an art degree and she was working as a manager for quite some time at a soap company and making really good money, killing it basically. But like her dreams weren't being realized. Like she knew that that was never what she was meant to do. And so I'm going to use this other brush to kind of get this blend a little better because I'm using a pretty heavy hand because I'm kind of talking more about my story than using this palette. So the three of us, we kept meeting and one of them wanted to be a potter, an artist. She wanted to start doing art. That was her dream. And the other one was a therapist and she was creating a program at a recovery center. But what she really wanted to do was start her own practice and become a Reiki practitioner and a shaman who gives therapy and uses both of those mediums in her work. Now, at the time, the one friend who was working at the soap company was making really good money and she was like facing all this fear that like nobody was going to support her and how was she going to just quit her job making really good money and then just become an artist making no money, essentially having to start from the ground up and like really nervous about letting go of that security. And the other one, everyone was telling her that what she wanted to do wasn't even legal, that she was never going to do it, that wasn't even a thing and like that wasn't even legal. And so basically I was so scared that I wasn't going to make it as a YouTuber that I ended up going to cosmetology school so that I could have a backup plan. And that was a huge mistake. And today I just kind of realized that if I would have just went fearlessly into my YouTube career, I would already be hugely successful. But I was trying to juggle my cosmetology education, which was really taxing. I had to go out of town. I had an hour-long commute. I had to go out of town an hour back and an hour forth, get my kid to childcare an hour before that so that she could get ready at somebody else's house, blah, 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 pick her up after school, and then do the whole thing over. And ironically, that was when I was uploading the most content, was when I was doing that because I was on fire. But over time, I kind of got burnt out and I was scared that I wasn't going to actually make it as a YouTuber. But what I was more scared is I always knew I was going to make it as a YouTuber. I was more scared of what everyone else was going to think. I was more scared that everybody was going to tell me that it wasn't practical, that it wasn't really a thing, that that it wasn't logical. And so really it wasn't the fear of my success as a YouTuber. I knew I was going to be a successful YouTuber. I didn't know how at the time, but I knew that I was going to be. What I was more afraid of was what everyone was going to think about me and everyone being disappointed because everyone had invested so much in me with childcare, financially, with rides, with everything. And so I was so scared of what they were all going to think that I put myself $15,000 more in debt, and I went to cosmetology school when I should have went all in on my program, my program, doing a YouTube channel and figuring out how that was going to become a practice and how I was going to make more impact with that, you know. And I always knew that it wasn't just going to be about makeup, as I've told you guys several times, but if I would have really went all in on that without the fear of what everyone was going to think and without like being so scared that I was going to disappoint everybody who had been there for me. God, this looks really good. It's really coming together now. The moral of this story is well, I'm not to the moral yet, but I don't want to forget any of these details. So the girl who was a therapist who wanted to become a Reiki practitioner, we just kept meeting and talking about our dreams and supporting each other and believing in each other. And we're the only ones. Everybody else fell away. None of them are doing the things that they wanted to do when they came, and maybe they changed their minds, but I'm willing to bet that what actually happened was they got afraid. And so the truth of the matter is me and my two besties were afraid too, but we just were able to push through that with different skill sets. Now, the one thing I am going to say is that I have kind of struggled more, it seems like, than my other two besties, but they also had, so they both had about 20 years clean and I had like 7, you know, they had like 18 and I had like 7 or 8, like, you know, those kinds of numbers. They basically had 10 more years than I did in recovery. So they were basically a little more skilled at life than I was, and I still had a lot of learning on how I was gonna really be able to tap into my true self, because ultimately, like, when we get aligned with our true selves, we're unstoppable. And they were a little more skilled, I think, at that than I still was, like, swimming in shit, dealing with a bunch of fear, which we all deal with fear. Like, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Like, everyone gets fear. And honestly, you should be getting fear. If you're living a life without fear, you're not really growing, because when you're doing anything new, you get so afraid, right? But so the girl who wanted to be a Reiki practitioner and a therapist and a shaman and use those energy practices in her work did it. The girl who wanted to be a potter and be an artist did it. And the three of us who were actually meeting and like building those skills to continue on that journey, we're all doing it. And the reason why I'm telling you this story is because when I first started to become a YouTuber, it didn't take a lot of confidence for me to make that decision. What it really came down to for me was I knew that if I didn't do something a little more aligned with my spirit, that I was never going to be happy. I require happiness. There was a point in my recovery where I used to say, happiness isn't a requirement. Fuck happiness. I don't need happiness to stay clean. But the truth is, that's only sustainable so long for me, and I do require happiness. It wasn't difficult for me to make the choice to jump into this, but what I learned was that it was very difficult for me to find what I needed within me to stick it out. The reason why I'm telling you guys this story is because I know that me and my two besties are literally one of millions that have this thing inside of us that we really want to do, that is really where we would be the most powerful. And what can we do what do we need to do to make that happen? Like, making the decision is kind of hard for some people. Making decisions isn't hard for me. I usually dive headfirst into risk-taking practices because I'm a high-risk person. Like, that's kind of, part of my charm and my challenge. Like, I like to take huge risks and gamble. But the truth of it is, I can get anything I want, but keeping it is a challenge. And I thought at the time that was just a challenge for addicts. Like, that's just a thing that addicts go through. But the truth is that is true for all of us. And a lot of times when we get something and we keep it, we're so busy holding on to one thing that we don't see the time when we need to let that thing go so that we can get the next big thing. Because honestly, true happiness is only in growth. Growth is the only thing. God, my makeup looks so good, I don't even want to put a shimmer on. Growth is the only true happiness. Like, if you notice, like, we all get like these ideas. In fact, I just got one before I got on here to film, and it felt so powerful. Like, it felt so powerful that I was willing to do anything to make it happen. Like, right before I got on this thing. But then what happens is we like get this thing where we're like, oh, I'll do it in 15 minutes. And then we go sit down and watch TV for 15 minutes, or we go to the fridge, or we get on Instagram and we get distracted, because distraction feels better than risk. And we have these things inside of our brain that tell us, don't do that. It's a huge risk. Everyone's going to judge you. Everyone's going to think some bullshit. And so then that feeling that we get, we all get it. We all get it. You guys get it. There's this moment where you're like, I'm going to stop eating sugar. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to stop spending money and get my finances in order. And then we say it and we're excited about it, but then we go do something to distract ourselves. And then that feeling goes away. And then it's another month before we get that feeling again. So I know for a fact that we all have it. Everyone does that. And so I created the exact blueprint. No shit. I'm not like saying that to be fucking spammy. I did create the exact blueprint of all the things that I have done to stay aligned, because the truth of it is, it's not really about taking a risk or becoming somebody that you're not. It's not really about like, oh, I'm a procrastinator, so I want to become the kind of person who takes action. It's not really about like, oh, I'm lazy, so I need to become the type of person that wants to go to the gym. You already are that person. If you want it, that's who you are. I fucking guarantee it. But the truth of it is that our fear comes into play so strong that in a moment we're like, okay, I'm gonna do that, but I'm not gonna do it right this second. So what can I do now? And then we go watch TV and our mind gets sedated and numbed out. And then that voice dies. And we all have that voice that fucking in a moment, our heart starts racing and we get so excited and we're ready and we're gonna do it and we seize it. And then we're like, well, what am I gonna do right now? I'm not gonna go to the gym at 9 o'clock at night. And so we go turn on the TV, or we go hit submit payment, or we go to the fridge, and then we're like, I'll do that shit tomorrow. And then tomorrow, what we wanted to do last night seems way too fucking hard. And so we don't do it. I created this program, which I significantly lowered the price because I want you guys to have access to it. Now, I quite frankly thought about doing it for free just so that I could like see what happens for you guys. But it's kind of it's an extensive program. And so I know that if you guys don't pay anything for it, you probably won't complete it, because that's like just the math. People don't complete educational programs. And so I'm going to talk more about like the nuts and bolts of it and how I reverse engineered it from being a makeup program to a complete confidence building program to empower women to do the things that truly give them joy, because I believe that women are so oppressed. You know what I mean? Like, we come from oppression. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not being a feminist. I'm saying that we have to learn how to make ourselves happy. Like, nobody's coming for us. Nobody's coming to save us. You know what I mean? Like, we grow up as women in this culture to believe that we watch these movies and like somebody's gonna come and like sweep us off our feet, and then like they're gonna take care of us. And like, we all know that nobody's coming to take care of us. That's a no-brainer. But the truth is like, how do we really show up for ourselves? How do we stand up for ourselves? How do we become the kind of woman that is actually the person that we can count on to look out for our best interest? Our best interest being not appeasing our man, not appeasing our job, our best interest being like appeasing ourselves. And so I created this whole campaign about do whatever the fuck you want. And quite frankly, it's not really have the freedom to do whatever the fuck you want, but ultimately, whatever the fuck you want is who you truly are. And when you step into that power, you become a powerful person. So when you're being aligned with your true self, which I fully believe most of us aren't, we're not aligned with our true selves, because I know for a fact that all of us are making sure that we don't make anybody disappointed. We're all making sure that we don't want to hear what other people think about what we're doing, because we're scared. We're scared of what other people are going to think. And actually, there's kind of a science behind why that is. And it's because we're so afraid of rejection, because we have an innate, inherent desire to be wanted and to belong. And so don't want to do anything that's going to threaten that. I'm going to use this green right here. I'm just going to go with my instinct because I can't quite see what the shift is on that. I'm going to go into this color right here. Not sure. Oh, fuck. Oh, that's perfect. Oh my God. So here's the thing. I know that so many people feel stuck buying, stuck spending too much. Aren't you tired of like overspending to fill the void that should be filled with doing something that you love? Now, I can't teach people how to stop spending. I can't teach you how to stop overeating. I can't teach you how to get to the gym. I can't teach you how to, you know, stop watching Netflix and doom scrolling to like quell the desire that you feel in your heart to do something better. Go meet a great guy. Stand up for yourself in your relationship, like do those things. I can't teach you how to do those things, but what I can teach you how to do is to get aligned with your spirit so that you're so inspired to take action in your life that you can't help it. You have to go after this thing. You have to go after the thing. And so that's what I really want to give you guys is I really want to give you guys the confidence to go after what you truly desire with the knowledge that if you let go of this shit, that you can get something better, but you have to let go of this thing. And so I can teach you how to do that. And so I created this course to do that. And I'm really excited about it because it's going to change your life. It changed mine. So that's the transformation. I had to do a lot of things to get the courage to stick this out and really put myself out there so that I could do the thing that I was called to do, but I didn't know what that was yet. I just knew I was on the right track because I felt so excited and I just felt moved to do it. I just felt moved that if I made this move that I was going to be stepping into my calling. And so I was willing to risk it all, but I still had to deal with all that fear and all that imposter syndrome. And honestly, I don't have that anymore. God damn, that looks fire. Nikki, this one's for you, girl. Okay, so I'm gonna go finish the rest of my face and I'll be back when I'm done. So this is the manifesto, the pièce de résistance. I've actually been waiting to do this look for like a week now. I had to upload different editing software onto my laptop and like everything's been a little bit weird and I have been like jonesing to do this look and it was everything I had ever dreamed of and more. I guess I want to end this by saying, I want you guys to know that I don't work hard. I don't. Like you guys know, I don't work hard. I put everything that I have energetically into the things that I feel aligned and inspired to do. And I only do things out of inspiration. I do not procrastinate. That's not even a thing for me anymore. So if you feel like you're a procrastinator, then literally check into my course because you're not a procrastinator. You're just not inspired. And I promise you, if you're sitting around every day thinking, oh, I need to do that, but tomorrow, you're not procrastinating, you're not inspired. And the reason why is because you're not actually focused on doing things that are aligned, right? In my business of being a YouTuber, as you guys know, I've always known that I wanted it to be more than just makeup, and I didn't know exactly how that was going to play out. But what I wanted to tell you guys is every single affiliate link that I have, I went after. I found a brand that I fell in love with, like with my whole heart, like not like I just wanted some free fucking makeup. I actually went after the brands that I felt like I wanted a spiritual connection with. No, none of my affiliate links are from brands that they called me because I used their products. I went after them and I like applied for their affiliate link programs or like whatever. And I just want you guys to know that I've kind of been taking this class because I take classes a lot. It's how I actually like regenerate myself and grow. I've been taking this class, and while I was just taking this class this whole entire week, I got an email yesterday saying that I got approved for the affiliate program with Metal Militia. Now, I know that you guys don't really know this, but when I decided I kind of wanted to get affiliate links with clothing brands, I realized like, I don't fucking shop at the Gap. You know what I mean? That's not a thing for me. Like LTK was kind of hard for me because all the makeup brands that they use aren't brands that are like aligned for me, right? And so I went after the brands that I actually wear, and I got Affliction addiction really quickly. And then I just got Metal Militia yesterday, and it's been months, and I was just sitting around doing nothing, like in the middle of 2 sessions of this class that I'm taking, and I got an email saying I got approved for Metal Militia. So the point of me saying that is that, like, I know that through like staying aligned, even when I feel the pressures of the world, even when I feel like I should be doing more, even when I feel like I should be doing what everybody else says I should be doing, I know myself so well because of the things that I have actually created an entire program. And I want you guys to have that freedom. I want you guys to be able to look at yourselves and be like, this is something I really want to do, because I know there is. Like, we might all convince ourselves that we're fine, but it's because we think that we have to be. And so I really want that freedom and that empowerment for you. And so I want you to feel like, I know that you think that if you just had more money, you'd be free. And if you just lost this weight, you'd be free. But the truth is those are all problems of the mind. I want to help you kind of tap into those and figure out really pragmatic solutions to those moments where your mind is keeping you from things that would actually give you like the ultimate happiness. Because I know a lot of you buy makeup to give you that happiness. You're not finding men that are going to stick it out with you through your trauma, or you're in relationships where it is whatever, or you're going to jobs every day that you like, okay, but there's this other thing, right? You know you deserve more. You are settling for less. You want to say no, but you say yes anyway. And we settle for lives that are unfulfilling, unsatisfying, and basically accept that as the norm. And so we face it gratefully. And I just want to show you guys that there's a different way. I'll leave my course linked in the description box below, like literally the first link. And if you guys are uncertain and you don't want to really take the risk, then I do have the Blueprint to Being a Badass Woman guide that you can check out and see like some of the concepts that I introduce in the course. It's totally free. You guys can link it down below and at least get that, because I promise you the things that I introduce in just that free guide are things that you can take those things and you can actually roll with them, and you can do the research yourself on the things that I introduce. But the course that I gave, it is the nuts and bolts of the concepts I introduced. And so the concepts I introduced is actually what I got when I started this journey. I got those concepts introduced to me, and then I went all in and did all the research on all those things to figure out how they were going to get me what I needed to actually be happy, because I have to have fun. Fun is really important to me, and I want it to be important to you too. What have I forgotten? I used Goji. I used my Lowlights palette in Meteoroid. It's actually the first time I've ever used this. It turned out really pretty. And then I used Mandy, of course. So you can use code LOST15 on any of the things from Notoriously Morbid. You can use my code LOST for anything from Unearthly. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, because you can't wait to see what happens next. Hit the like button if you like this look, or if you just like my sparkling personality, my boyish charm, and hang out with me in the comments, because I fucking love it. If you got like halfway through this video and you're like, oh my god, she's so fucking pretty till she opens her big mouth, then go check me out on Instagram. I don't talk as much on Instagram. And if you were like, don't sugarcoat it, Katie, why don't you tell us how you really feel, then go check out my Patreon. We meet once a week. See you next Tuesday at 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for watching. You could have been anywhere, but you were here wasting your time with me, and I totally appreciate you. Later.